Okay. Hey, my babies. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Riahjay, and I'm back with another video. Today is Monday, my babies. I hope all is well with you all is well with me. And I hope we all are continuing to stay about happiness, peace, and love. And I hope we all are continuing to stay determined, motivated, and focused. And I hope we all are continuing to walk in the alignment of stars that Allah has for us. So, in today's video, y'all, I got to get this video done really quick because Wookie's about to start her school. But y'all, when I tell y'all, this video is really about to be something else, you know? I watched the movie, The Girl Next Door, last night. It came out in 2007. And for those of you who've never seen this movie or never watched it, I want to give you all a rundown about this movie, and then I'm going to further explain my personal feelings about the movie and how it has personally affected me, because I did see this movie before, but I seen it in my childhood. I'm gonna get into all of that. So yeah, let me read y'all, and I am gonna put the a picture, you know, a cover of the movie right here, so y'all can go ahead and watch that and look that up. First of all, it is rated R, so no children should be watching this movie. You know, this is for adults only, and yeah. We're going to get into all of that right now. But let me read y'all this movie. So it says, plot. In 2007, David Moran witnesses a man hit and run by a car in New York City. He responds to the situation and tries to resuscitate the victim. That evening, he reflects on his past in the summer of 1958 when he meets his first teenage crush, Meg Laughlin. Meg and her disabled sister, Suzanne, have lost their parents in a car accident and are now living with their aunt, Ruth Chandler, and her sons, Willie, Ralphie, and Donnie. Ruth freely allows her sons and their neighborhood friends to her house, where she entertains them and offers them beer and cigarettes. Meanwhile, Ruth starves Meg, accusing her of being a whore, and subjects her to misogynistic lectures whilst her children listen. She even beats Susan after Meg hits Ralphie when he inappropriately touches her. Follow me, y'all. Meg reports the abuse to Officer Jennings. As punishment, Ruth and her sons bind Meg in the basement and torment her, strip her, and then leave her overnight hanging by the arms from the rafters. She eventually becomes dehydrated and is unable to even eat the dry toast that Ruth feeds her. Ruth again beats Susan as punishment for Meg. With Ruth's approval, the neighborhood children visit the Chandler residence to tie, beat, burn, and cut Meg for fun. Ruth cauterizes the wounds Meg receives with cigarettes. David tries to tell his parents but is unable to do so. Officer Jennings checks in once more, answering a call about Meg being used as a punching bag. Before answering the door, Ruth threatens to kill Meg and David if they make a noise in the basement. While Ruth and her sons are upstairs, David loosens Meg's bindings and tells her to escape that night. She is unsuccessful. David returns to the Chandler house and is guided to the basement, where Meg is being raped as punishment for trying to escape. Ralphie suggests to Ruth that she should cut Meg so she'll be known as a whore. Ruth agrees and carves the words "I fuck me" on Meg's abdomen with a heated bobby pin. She taunts Meg about how no man will ever want her. Ruth then decides to perform a clitorectomy. David attempts to flee but is caught and tied up. Ruth mutilates Meg's vagina with a blowtorch. The next morning, David awakes still on the basement floor. He frees himself from his bindings and finds Susan sitting with an unconscious Meg. Susan tells David that Meg did not escape because she was caught trying to take Susan with her instead of waiting to come back for her. She blames herself for telling Meg about Ruth molesting her. David plans their escape and lights a fire in the basement. As Ruth enters, David bludgeons her to death with Susan's crutches. Willie and Donnie come down to the basement and Willie attacks David with a knife. Officer Jennings intervenes and arrests the Chandler boys. The police take Susan from the basement and leave Meg with David. She dies after thanking David. Back in 2007, the adult David reflects on how his past still haunts him to his present day. Though, as Meg taught him, quote, "It's what you do last that counts," end quote. These are the last words she said before she died. Now, y'all, where do I start? I feel a personal connection with this movie because, oh God, it makes me emotional. I'm gonna try not to get emotional, man. When I was 14, my uncle, my mother's youngest sibling, my uncle, my mother's younger brother, I was staying with him. Y'all remember when I told y'all, like, I went to school in Staten Island and I was staying with him for a few years until he kicked me out. And for those of you who have been watching me for as long as I've been doing my YouTube, you already know. Let me get the charger real quick. So one night, I was at my uncle's house. It was just me, him, and his daughter, his youngest daughter, Kayla. And, you know, regular night at the house, just chilling. And I don't know what came across my uncle's mind for him to suggest and tell me and his daughter. And now his daughter's 3 years younger than me. So if I'm 14, 15-ish, how old would that make my little cousin? 11, 12? Okay, keep that in mind. So he's like, "Hey, I want y'all to watch this movie." And it's very windy, y'all. I'm sorry, y'all. It's very windy out here in New York. So he's like, "I want y'all to watch this movie." And we're like, "Is it scary? Like, what is it about?" He's like, "Don't worry about none of that. Y'all gonna sit down and y'all gonna watch this movie." And we're like, okay, you know. Now, if y'all just heard everything about this movie is rated R, okay? This movie has nudity, sexual context. This movie has violence. It has explicit language. It's rated R. It's not for children. I'm a child. Whether I'm 14 or 15, that's still a child. My little cousin, his daughter, is a child. Okay? Oh, don't be standing by the curtain. And, you know, you make us watch this movie. First of all, we watching it just thinking it's like, you know, a kid movie that's probably a little scary, you know. Sometimes things are a little bit scary. And this turns on to be something we didn't sign up for, but you forced us to watch this movie. Like, how sick do you have to be to force children to watch a fucking rated R movie? Did you not hear the context? And I'm pretty sure he watched it before he told us to watch it, which is why he wanted us to watch it. But I'm sitting here like, yo, last night my mind went through so many things, y'all, because I always knew. Like, you know how as a child, right, you remember certain memories, but you're so young that sometimes it's like, wait, did that really happen? Like, or was I bugging? You know, because I was a kid, so you know. So my mind, you know, for years, you know, I've remembered this movie. Like, my uncle made us watch this crazy ass movie, and he also made us watch a movie about Jesus, and Jesus was getting beat. It was very violent. You know, I know the story of Jesus. I actually grew up as a Christian, but y'all know that I'm not a Christian anymore. I did convert a few years ago, like 4 or 5 years ago. I'm Muslim now. So, but you know, I did grow up like that. So, you know, for you to, oh God, where was I at? This video is going to be something else, y'all. Like, you are an adult and you make children watch a rated R movie. That is sick. Like, you're fucking sick. Like, you know, and I purposely watched the movie last night because I was like, first of all, I'm scrolling through my movies or whatever, and I'm like, I've seen this movie before. I'm like, I'm gonna watch this. So I waited till Woogie went to sleep and I watched the movie, and when I tell you, it just brought back so many memories from when I was 14, 15 years old, watching this movie in my uncle's house with my little cousin. And it's sick. It's sick. Like, what was you trying to, what was the point of you making us watch this movie? Like, to show us how sick fucking people are? Like, this girl was tortured, tormented, raped, abused, you know, emotionally, physically, sexually, you know, in her time being in that house by this sick ass lady and her children. And she allowed all these things to go down against this woman. You know, it's sad. She was jealous. She was jealous of Ruth. I mean, she was jealous of Meg, you know, and she was pushing out all her insecurities and all her problems and demons and everything onto this young girl. This girl was only 16 years old, this girl. And then her younger sister's disabled. She can't even walk. She has metal steel things on her legs. And her sister, someone has to help her walk because she can't. She is disabled. And you molested the younger sister. You beat her when you was feeling a way towards Meg. And even when Meg tried to step in and help her sister, you still was beating that girl. You had no empathy, no respect, no love. Like, and you raised your sons to be that way. So, y'all, oh my God. I just don't know why the hell my uncle made me and his daughter watch this movie. Like, I would never do that. As a parent, like me being a parent today, my daughter's 8. I would not make my daughter watch a rated R movie. Rated R is for adults. What was the point of that? Like, oh my God. And this is, you know, when I do my story times and my lectures and I talk to y'all and everything about things in my life, like, my family has issues. Like, my family has deep, dark demons that they haven't dealt with, you know? And if you live your life not dealing with it, it's going to affect you internally and externally. So you have to get to the root of the problem. I never judge my family for what they have gone through, what they have been through, because we all have our own lives, okay? We all have our own story to tell, and we all have our own healing to do. You know what I'm saying? But me, I feel just personally, very personal about this movie, being the fact that I watched it when I was a kid, 14, 15 years old, you know. Man, I've seen things in my life as a child that I wasn't supposed to see. I've heard things that I wasn't supposed to hear, you know. I've done things that I wasn't supposed to do. This is all a part of growing up in that toxicity, that dysfunction, you know, unhealthy environments and stuff like that, around toxic people, sick-minded people, and children grow up. Like, do parents not realize that, yeah, your child is a child for now, but one day they're going to grow up and they're going to have questions for you. They are going to want to talk to you. They are going to confront you about the shit that they've seen, heard, and realize, like, listen, to my young children that are watching this, you know what's right and you know what's wrong, you know. Don't let nobody force you to do nothing. Don't watch something you don't want to watch. You know, don't listen to things that you don't want to listen to, you know. When you're a child, you have to really protect yourself, you know. Protect yourself. Because it's sad, but the adults around you may not be, they just may not have that capacity to do it, you know, to protect you. And I mean protect everything about you, you know. Protect your eyes and what you see. Protect your ears and what you hear, you know. Protect you physically, you know. They just may not have the capacity. And, you know, we shouldn't hold grudges. I don't hold grudges against my family. You know, I just realized that people are sick, okay? They've had mental illnesses. I'm getting hot. They've had mental illnesses. They still have mental illnesses, and they have a lot of healing to do. You know, they have to go to God and repent. They have to repent. We all do, you know. Nobody's perfect, but this movie, man, I feel like I want to read it again for you all to really understand what this movie is about. Me and my cousin sat through 91 minutes of a rated R movie of sexual abuse, emotionally abused, mentally abused, physically abused, everything. All type of abuse was in this video. And ultimately, this young girl died because they tormented her, 16 years old, like a grown-ass woman and her sons, and she even allowed neighbors' kids to partake in this. And you letting fucking minors drink beer and smoke cigarettes. Like, what kind of fucking witch are you? This really pisses me off. Because this is shit that goes on in real fucking life, y'all. This movie, you know, oh God, I'm not gonna cry. And I didn't even cry last night because I already watched this movie. But I just had to get my mind together, like, and really reassure myself that you really watched this when you was 14 and 15. I couldn't even watch it. I'm 27. I couldn't even watch it last night. I'm like, oh my God, sitting here, I'm watching it like, oh my God, like, this lady's sick. She's raising these kids to be fucking psychos, you know? And I don't know how was I even able to watch it 14, 15 years old and my little cousin. Like, we was never supposed to see this movie. Like, what's wrong with people? You know? You know, it's really, really sad, you know. So I did more research. I'm not going to read it again. Y'all go watch it if y'all want to watch this movie. Again, this is for adults only. This is a rated R movie. Do not make your kids or suggest or recommend that your minor kids watch a rated R movie. It's not for them, okay? You don't see the rate of the movie, rated R. This has nudity, explicit language, sexual content, and all kind of shit. It's not for children. They shouldn't be watching this. They shouldn't be nowhere around you when you're watching this. Like, it's disgusting. It's sick. So, my God, I felt so moved by this movie last night as an adult. You know, I watched it already in my childhood, that I was like, let me research some things about this movie. So first of all, I researched, is The Girl Next Door from 2007 based on a real story? And to my surprise, it is. It is based on the murder of Sylvia Likens. Likens, age 16, was held captive and subjected to increasing levels of child abuse and torture, committed over a period of almost 3 months by her caregiver, Gertrude, I don't know her last name, Baniszewski. Many of Baniszewski's children and several other neighborhood children, before ultimately succumbing to her injuries on October 26th. This young girl was born in January 1949 in Lebanon, Indianapolis, and she died October 26, 1965 in Indianapolis. Her parents were Betty Likens and Lester Likens. So I did read through, man, it's a lot to read. If y'all want to read about the real life murder of Sylvia Likens, it's a lot to read. You can look it up on Google, on Wikipedia, and it basically breaks down everything: her background, her parents, the abuse, the turmoil, the escalation of everything, her death, the arrest, the autopsy, the funeral, the indictments, the trial, the testimony, the closing arguments, prosecution, defense, rebuttal, convictions, retrials, parole, aftermath, media, film, books, television, also notes, references, cited works, and other further readings, external links. I mean, it really details everything about the murder, and I read most of it. I needed to get some rest, so I couldn't really read, like, you know, the closing arguments, prosecution, the defense. I like skimmed through it. So basically, this is a real life, this movie, The Girl Next Door, was based on a real life murder of a teenage girl. And when I tell you the things that I've read is disgusting, man. I really hope and pray that Sylvia Likens' soul is at peace, and I know it is, because, you know, she's with the Lord now. And things like this really touch me, because children should not go through the things children have to go through. And it's fucking sad and sick that there's adults out here that just literally have no empathy, no remorse, no love. They don't have nothing, for them to do these to children. Children never asked to be here. And as adults, we are supposed to protect these children, but people are so sick mentally. It all starts in the mind, mentally. So, when I read through this case, I read most of it in the beginning, but then I started to skim through it because I was very tired last night. The torture and murder of Sylvia Likens is widely regarded by Indiana citizens as the worst crime ever committed in their state, and has been described by a senior investigator in the Indianapolis Police Department as the most sadistic case he had ever investigated in the 35 years he served with the Indianapolis Police. So basically, Gertrude, the caregiver, she'd been married and divorced like 3 times. She suffered a miscarriage. She had a lot of issues. She was only 5 feet and 6 inches, 168 centimeters in height, and she weighed only 100 pounds. She has been described as a haggard, underweight, asthmatic chain smoker suffering from depression due to the stress of 3 failed marriages, a failed relationship, and a recent miscarriage. In addition to the sporadic checks she received from her first husband, a former Indianapolis police, which she primarily relied upon to financially support her. Riahjayreacts occasionally performed odd jobs for neighbors and acquaintances, such as sewing or cleaning, in order to earn money. Riahjayreacts resided in Indianapolis at 3850 East New York Street, where the monthly rent was $55. So basically, how Sylvia Likens even got into her custody was one of her parents died, and then the other one obviously had to work. So, you need someone to help you watch your child, right? And this is, oh my God, this is major right here. Stop letting any and everybody watch your child. You don't know these fucking people. You do not know these fucking people. You don't know what's going on in somebody's fucking head. Okay? You don't know what's going on behind somebody's 4 walls of their house. It's sick. Don't let any and everybody watch your kid, and even family. Family can be sick as well. So don't just be like, oh, I'm leaving my kids with Uncle John, and I'm gonna leave the kid with Godfather Barry, and Sister Mary of the church. No, fuck that. Fuck that. If you don't know these people like in and fucking out, okay, and you do a full investigation of these motherfuckers, don't leave your kids with these fucking people. People are fucked up, okay? Y'all know that this whole situation, the fact that this movie moved me so much, I literally had to do research about this entire case to find out that it was based on a real story. So, it all started with the caregiver, calling Sylvia a whore, a slut, lying. Her and her son's lying, saying that she's prostituting and, all kind of stuff. Meanwhile, she wasn't. She was going to school. She was working, trying to make a few money to help out with the house where she was staying at with Gertrude. And it all just escalated and escalated and escalated. Man, some things I can't even say in this video, the things that her and her children did, to the 16-year-old girl. It's sick. She was jealous of her. She was very jealous of her. She force-fed her. She made her eat her own feces. She starved her. She starved to the death, beat her, burned her, burned her genitals, and man, so many things. Black eyes, punched her teeth out, burned her with cigarettes, um, made her strip in front of the family. Oh God, humiliated her. 16 years old, you know, and she would say things like when her father wasn't able to pay like the money for her taking care of his children while he worked, she would say things like, "You see, I took you little bitches in for no reason. Your father can't even pay the money." Like all kinds of things, like whipping Jenny. The police would come and check on her, and then, you know, as soon as the police would leave and find nothing wrong, she would whoop her and the sister, the disabled sister, and say, "See what you're gonna do now? They left. They can't help you." Man, so many different things, you know. So many different things. It escalated to, you know, placing a cloth gag in her mouth as they tortured her, restrained restrained her, you know. Man, man, one of the sons tormented Likens by offering to allow her to eat a bowl of soup with her fingers and then quickly taking away the bowl from Likens, by this stage suffering from extreme malnourishment. Gertrude eventually allowed Likens to sleep upstairs, you know, in her bedroom, on the condition that she learned not to wet herself. That night, Sylvia whispered to Jenny to secretly give her a glass of water before falling asleep because she was dehydrated. She was thirsty as fuck. And she did pee on herself. And as a punishment, I can't even read that part. She carved, you know, in the movie when they carved "I fuck me" on her stomach. That wasn't really what the real story. She carved "I'm a prostitute and proud of it" on Likens' abdomen with a heated needle. And she was telling her, you know, nobody's gonna want you. You ain't gonna have a man who's gonna want you like that. And man, so many things, man. So, Sylvia, what are you gonna do now? You can't get married now. What are you gonna do? Likens said, "I guess there's nothing I can do." And the night she knew she was gonna die, she said to her sister, "Jenny, I know you don't want me to die, but I'm going to die. I can tell it." The following day, Gertrude Banaszewski woke Likens, then forced her to write a letter as she dictated the contents, which were intended to mislead her parents into believing their daughter had run away from Banaszewski's residence. The content of this letter was intended to frame a group of anonymous local boys for extremely abusing and mutilating Likens after she had initially agreed to engage in sexual relations with them before they inflicted the extreme abuse and torture upon her. After Likens had written this letter, Gertrude finished formulating her plan to have John Jr. and Jenny blindfolded Sylvia, then take her to a nearby wooded area known as Jimmy's Forest and leave her there to die. After she had finished writing the letter, Likens was then again tied to the stair railing and offered crackers to eat. Although she refused to eat them, saying, "Give it to the dog, I don't want it." In response, Gertrude forced the crackers into Likens' mouth before she and John Banaszewski, which is one of the sons, they beat her, particularly around the stomach, where they had burned her at. She tried to escape. They caught her, they beat her, put her back in the basement again. She was suffering from extreme state of dehydration, extreme torture. She was dying. Took the curtain rod from Gertrude and struck Likens one more time, rendering her unconscious. Gertrude then dragged Likens into the basement. That evening, Likens desperately attempted to alert the neighbors by screaming for help and hitting the walls of the basement with a spade. One immediate neighbors of Banaszewski's would later inform police she had heard the desperate commotion and that she had identified the source as emanating from the basement of 3850 East New York Street, but that as the noise had suddenly ceased at approximately 3 o'clock in the morning, she decided not to inform the police about the disturbance. I'm gonna let y'all go, y'all. This is just really sick. It's fucking crazy, man. Please go watch this movie. Adults only. the death. By the morning of October 26th, Likens was unable to either speak and intelligibly damn, I can't even say that word, intelligibly, or to correctly coordinate the movement of her limbs. Gertrude did move Likens into the kitchen, and having propped her back against the wall, attempting to feed her a donut and a glass of milk, although she threw Likens to the floor in frustrations when Likens was unable to correctly move the glass of milk to her lips. She was then returned to the basement. Shortly after, Likens became delirious, repeating, moaning, and mumbling. When Paula asked her to recite the English alphabet, Likens was unable to recite anything beyond the first 4 letters or to raise herself off the ground. In response, Paula verbally threatened her to stand up or she would herself inflict a long jump upon her. Gertrude then ordered Likens, who had defecated, to clean herself. That afternoon, several of Likens' other tormentors gathered in the basement. Likens jerkingly moved her arms in an apparent attempt to point at the faces of the tormentors she could recognize, making such statements such as "You're Ricky" and "You're dirty," before Gertrude tersely shouted, "Shut up, you know who I am." Minutes later, Likens unsuccessfully attempted to bite into a rotten pear she had been given to eat, stating she could feel the looseness in her teeth. Upon hearing this, Jenny replied, "Don't you remember, Sylvia? Your front tooth was knocked out when you were 7. Jenny then left Sylvia in the basement to perform gardening chores for neighbors in hopes of spending money. In an attempt to wash Likens, a laughing John Benazescu Jr. sprayed her with a garden hose brought to the house that afternoon by Randy Lepper at Gertrude's request. Likens again desperately attempted to exit the basement but collapsed before she could even reach the stairs. In response to this effort, Gertrude stamped upon Likens' head before standing and staring at her for several moments. Stephanie then decided to give Likens a warm soapy bath, although Likens seethed breathing before she could be carried out of the basement. She was 16 years old. When Stephanie realized that Likens was not breathing, she attempted to apply mouth-to-mouth recitation as Gertrude repeatedly shouted her belief to the children and teenagers present in her house that Likens was faking her death. Shortly after 5:30 p.m., Richard Hobbs, returning to the Benazescu residence, immediately proceeded to the basement. He slipped on the wet basement stairs and fell heavily to the floor of the basement to be confronted with the sight of Stephanie crying and cuddling Likens' emaciated and lacerated body. So Gertrude, the caregiver, and all her sons were arrested. Some of the neighbors, they agreed to testify on the trial, so they barely got any time. These days they are free, and upon this movie they got out, all of them, and upon the movie being released in 2007, they got all their names changed, so you know, obviously none of the public would recognize or know who they are. And yeah, I'm sure they're living a happily good old life, knowing what the fuck they did to a 16-year-old girl who only just wanted to be a child, and who only wanted love and support and guidance and shelter and food, like, and water, and for her and her sister to be good while the father was out hustling and her mother had died. Like, she never asked for none of that. And I'm so sorry to you, Sylvia Likens. I'm so sorry to you that you had to go through this. I know that you are resting in heaven. And I pray that your sister's doing well, and I know that this, what you all have gone through, is so much trauma that it'll take a lifetime to heal it all. So yeah, y'all, that's all that I'm gonna read. We approaching 40 minutes. I hope you all enjoyed this video. As I said, y'all go watch it if you can take these type of movies, man. It does take place. It came out 2007, but it takes place in the 1950s, so it looks really old, you know, but as the movie goes on and on, it does get worse. as far as the torturing and the abuse, and man, so make sure when you do watch it, you do not have any minors and children in your presence or in any area where they can hear it, see it, or anything, because this movie is rated R. It is not for children. And you know, I do want to say sorry to my younger self because I was forced to watch this movie. Man, and I want to say sorry to my little cousin Kayla. We didn't know what we was gonna watch, you know, and your dad forced us to watch this movie, and I'm sure as much as it has scarred me, it has scarred you. I mean, I don't know. I don't talk to my cousin Kayla, but I don't even know if she knows about my channel. But if you see this, Kayla, I love you. I miss you. You can reach out. And yeah, I'm just sorry to us, man. Our younger selves that we was forced to watch that movie. We was never supposed to watch it. But we did, and we learned a lot of things. We seen how sick people are and how sick people can be, and I'm sure that us just seeing those things have clearly helped us and identify sick ass motherfuckers, and to make good decisions, you know, as far as being discerning and allowing people who we allow in our lives, and hanging around certain things, because we know that we can be affiliated with things if we are around whatever. And also just to make better decisions in our lives. You know that I am a parent. I doubt that you're a parent, but if you are, congratulations. And yeah, and just to be a better parent than our parents was and our guardians was in our lives. So yeah, y'all, this is the end of the content video. I love you all so much. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Peace and love. Bye.